Hey everybody, this is Scott from RPGFan, and today we have a hands-on preview for the upcoming The Adventures of Elliot, The Millennial Tales. Thanks to the people over at Square Enix, I had the opportunity to play a small portion of the game, and overall came out feeling very excited to play the full release come June. As always, there is a written version of this preview on the website in the description below, along with a small Q&A with the game's producer, Naofumi Matsushita. And if you enjoyed this video and want to see more, feel free to like, comment, and share with your fellow RPG enthusiasts. I hope you enjoy. So the HD 2D style of games since the original Octopath Traveler release have pretty much changed how people look at the retro style of video games from bigger publishers such as Square Enix. It not only looks great, but also scratches that old school sprite-based JRPG itch a lot of people have wanted back since the end of the Super NES and PlayStation 1 era of games. And since Octopath Traveler, it has been used in an assortment of different games and remakes, the most recent being the Dragon Quest 1, 2, and 3 HD 2D remakes. And although this has worked out somewhat great for your standard turn-based RPG, we have yet to really see what the HD 2D style can do outside of the genre. So in comes The Adventures of Elliot, The Millennial Tales from Team Asano and Claytek Works. A top-down action RPG in the vein of The Legend of Zelda, using this amazing art style to its fullest to create something that looks and plays different than we have seen before, while still being very familiar in its approach. Now, there was a demo for The Adventures of Elliot released last summer on the Switch too, but the version we played had been significantly improved since the demo's release. Taking in fan feedback from the demo, Team Asano and Claytek Works have made some noticeable changes to the game, such as increasing the actual speed of the game, like with Elliot's movement speed, and adjusting how some weapons and systems within the game work. They definitely heard what everyone was saying about the game, and made some great improvements here. But what if you didn't get to experience the demo, since maybe you didn't have a Switch 2 like myself? What can you expect with The Adventures of Elliot? Well, in its simplest comparison, it's very much an HD 2D take on the traditional 2D Legend of Zelda games. There have been a ton of Legend of Zelda clones in the past, and there will continue to be a million more after Elliot as well. But what makes Elliot stand out first and foremost is the graphics. The HD 2D style fits so well in a top-down action RPG that it's almost criminal that it hasn't been done before. It has some real amazing lighting and shadow effects that are just not possible in your traditional 2D and sprite-based games, which easily could be used in interesting puzzles further in the game. It also allows for a sense of depth that just isn't possible in your traditional 2D sprite work. You can easily tell something is above or below your current position without it feeling muddled together, allowing you to clearly see what you need to traverse in order to continue. The HD 2D style never disappoints when it comes to its visuals. But I will say one thing I had a hard time with was navigating the map. Maybe since I was placed in the middle of the game, or maybe it's due to how the map visualizes the HD 2D world, the map was somewhat hard to understand. But I think that's something that will be less of an issue if you played from the start. So it looks the part, but does it play the part of a Zelda game? The answer to that is a very vague, kinda? It certainly feels like a Zelda game, complete with an overworld map to explore across different time periods, towns, and multiple dungeons and caves to explore. In fact, the dungeon we got to experience had you traverse multiple floors, figuring out a laser puzzle where you bounce it off mirrors to get it to its destination, to open your way forward. You also needed to find a big key to unlock the boss room, found multiple chests, including a sword upgrade, and fought multiple foes and had some platforming to boot. A traditional Zelda-like dungeon through and through, but that's about where the similarities end, even if there are many with Legend of Zelda. For instance, Elliot has more than just a sword and shield in this game. He has 7 weapons, in fact, including the sword, boomerang, bombs, hammer, spear, bow, and my personal favorite, the chain sight. You can have any combination of the two equipped to the square and triangle button to use at any time, and each can be swapped out for any other with a simple radio menu access. Each weapon does things better than the other against certain foes, and some, like bombs and bows, have limited ammo. All of them can be charged up to unleash powerful attacks as well, and depending on the level of the weapon, a la Secret of Mana, you can reach level 2, 3, and maybe even level 4 charges and beyond. On the defensive end, the shield can be used with any weapon and requires active input of your block button to use. This all leads to some really fun combat, especially with the bosses, trying to figure out what works best in each situation. Elliot also has access to his fairy companion Faye with the right stick. If you played the demo, you already saw 2 of Faye's abilities: the sprint, which allows Elliot to quickly dash around, and the teleport, which allows Elliot to warp to Faye's location to traverse huge gaps you couldn't normally jump over. We also got to mess with the new ability, the fire ability. It lets Faye light up her surroundings with fire to burn grass, melt ice, damage foes, and even illuminate dark areas. Sure to come in handy along with the other 2 abilities we haven't seen yet. There's also an equipment system that increases defense and offensive abilities, along with giving Elliot other unique properties. For example, I managed to buy a cloak in the town that allowed Elliot to hover a short while jumping, a la Princess Peach style from Super Mario Bros. 2, and it made platforming the dungeon way easier. And I'm sure there are more accessories like this out there as well. He also has access to the Magicite system, which can radically change how each weapon plays. By equipping certain Magicite to weapons, they might charge faster, attack faster, increase their radius, hit harder, etc., etc. Lots of options that make Elliot feel more like an RPG than, say, your traditional Zelda or Zelda clone. For those looking for a challenge, or an easier time with the game, there are difficulty levels that you can change on the fly. I messed around on very hard for a while and noticed a significant boost in the enemy endurance and damage. Also, when you die, it costs more and more currency to resurrect on the spot until you hit a checkpoint where it resets. On the very hard difficulty, it doesn't reset at checkpoints, so the cost keeps going up and up until it becomes impossible to afford, thus forcing you back to the previous checkpoints. Another cool option of the game is 2-player. Someone can control Faye while you control Elliot for some co-op action. I can definitely see some opportunity for some really cool speedrun co-op strats being used in this mode. With all of these different systems in place, the game feels more like a mana game than, say, a Zelda game, which is what the developers were going for in the first place. It has the opportunity to be a really fun action RPG to be enjoyed by just about everybody. Overall, The Adventures of Elliot, The Millennial Tales is shaping up to be a fantastic adventure, and well worth your time if you're looking for some creative top-down action RPG goodness. Once again, thank you to Square Enix for letting us experience a small portion of the game and to share with all of you. I hope you enjoyed this preview, and I'll see you in the next one.